Hello, welcome back to the channel. I recently put a post up asking for questions for a Q&A video because I get a lot of questions and sometimes it's quite difficult to give a good enough answer in the comments section. So I thought I'd put this out, give you the opportunity to ask me anything and I can give you some of my ideas back. The response was really good, so I've got loads of questions. Hopefully I'll try and get through all of them. I might have to split it into two parts, but we'll see how it goes. But let's get straight into it. Okay, so the first question here. If I had to choose a second martial art, what would it be? I've actually also done a little bit of judo as well as karate, so that would probably be my choice because I think it complements karate well. However, if I was to choose a different one that I'd not done before, I'd probably go with something like jiu-jitsu because it's close to karate in terms of its terminology and the way that the training is done. Uh, However, there's a lot more grappling and groundwork that I think would complement my karate well, especially when extracting application from kata. I think that'd be a really useful addition. Next question. What is my favorite kata? This changes depending on what I'm working. At the moment, I'm working on knee jushiho, and it is my favorite for the moment. It changes all the time. I never really have one favorite as such. It just depends on the time. Where did you earn your black belt? So I graded under Kawasoe Sensei with the ITKF or UKTKF in the UK, kind of a branch of the JKA. So that's where I got my first dan. Next one, any advice on getting back to the dojo after a 5 year or 5 year plus hiatus? Just get back in. You know, take it easy, take it slow, and just get straight back into it. Muscle memory will kick in; it will come back very quickly. I have a lot of students that come to me from um, after having a long break from karate. You know, they might have done it when they were younger, or have just had an extended break. And just take it at your own pace. Don't rush. Don't expect to be at the same level that you're at 5 years ago, but gradually work yourself back in. Don't go, expecting to be 100% from the beginning. Be patient, the same as anyone really starting karate. You know, be patient at the beginning, and it will come. But with obviously some experience in the past, it's going to come very quickly. So just get straight back in. Which Dan do I have? Which Dan grade? Which level of black belt do I have? I'm at currently a fourth Dan. I got that, I think, in 2022. I think it was maybe 21. Any advice for someone doing their first tournament? Uh, Make sure you understand the rules of the tournament because a lot of championships have different, or a lot of associations and groups have different rule sets. So make sure you understand the rules that you are playing under, and then best prepare yourself for that. It also depends on whether you're doing kata or kumite. Um, just make sure you're well prepared. Enjoy the process because it is about enjoyment, really. You know, your first competition is not going to be the world championship, so it's not that serious. Just take it as it comes, enjoy it, and you'll be fine. How can a fat man gain mobility? The same as anybody else. Body fat makes no difference. The mobility exercises are the same. Um, yeah, same as anyone else. How to do powerful kicks as a lightweight? Uh, technique. Technique is how to create powerful kicks. Having the correct alignment through the kick, making sure the movement is correct, the chamber position, everything is lined up, the back foot is in the correct position or the supporting foot. Power comes from technique more so. Obviously, weight helps, but technique is what creates that power. What are my thoughts on traditional kumite? I assume this kind of means like shobu ippon compared to WKF style sport karate. That's how I take the question anyway. I think it's good. I think it's probably better actually. It maintains more of the karate principles. Um, it's it sort of focuses a little bit more on maintaining that zanshin, that awareness after your point, and it's first point wins basically, or first two half points. Yeah, I like it. Next one here. I'm training for my first cue and still have a problem aiming my ushirigiri, getting on target. So I recently did a video on ushirigiri. Actually, I did an ushirigiri tutorial. Ushirigiri is a back kick for those that don't know the Japanese terminology. Aiming the back kick. So first of all, check out that video. That would be the easiest way to describe this. But you want to line up your front foot kind of with the outside edge of the target. So you want to be lining your front foot up and then keeping your knees close together, sending the kick directly back. If your knees are close together, then you can maintain a straight line with the kick. If you bring your knees apart and allow them to come outwards, then you're going to end up sending it into more of a side kick position, and you're kind of just guessing where the target is. You line the front foot up. As you rotate, knees come together and send it straight, so the knees come past each other, and you should have a more direct kick. Do you recommend holding legs in a kicking position, and any tips on hip mobility? So that's kind of two questions there. Holding kicks in a kick position, yeah, there's some benefit to that. It strengthens the glutes and the muscles involved in kicking, to make kicking easier, basically. Yeah, I think that's a good exercise to do, and I used to do quite a bit of that in the past. And tips on hip mobility, I've got loads of videos on here that cover hip mobility, so probably check them out would be a good idea. But just consistency with your stretching and mobility exercises. So take a look at some of those videos, and that will cover that for you. How many years have you done karate? 24, nearly 25. I started in 2000, so 24 years. Next one here. We would like to bring back bare knuckle, no pads karate. Do you think there is interest? Yeah, I think so. You see it online quite a bit. There's a lot of bare knuckle boxing content about at the moment, and people seem to be enjoying watching that. So I think so. I used to actually, when I first started competing, we didn't wear gloves at all. Actually, it was just bare hands or a very small white kind of cotton glove or mitt that just covered the back of your hand. Really, it didn't even cover your knuckles. It just kind of covered the top part of your hand. Yeah, I think there is interest in that. In fact, I think there's interest in that because a lot of people don't like the way the WKF's going with the too much padding. Actually, foot, shin, even head guards they're bringing in for the juniors, I think, and body armor even. So yeah, I think so. Quite related to that last one actually. Have competition rules ruin the effectiveness of Shotokan karate? This is interesting. I think so, yes. So if we look at the WKF rules again, it sort of changes, it eliminates a lot of the techniques that we have in Shotokan. So what you don't see often is front kicks, back kicks even. Sometimes you see them, but it's not frequent. Um, Obviously, a lot of techniques are taken out. So really in competition, at least in WKF competition, there's only probably 4 or 5 techniques that actually are used all the time. Like a kizamizuki, like a front hand punch, a backhand punch, uh, mawashi for roundhouse kicks, and reverse mawashis, hook kicks, uramoshi. Um, so yeah, I think for those that train purely for that kind of competition, I think they are lacking or missing out on a lot of effectiveness. If the goal is effectiveness, of course, another question then comes from that. I mean, what is effective? What do we mean by effective? Effective for competition, then of course it's effective, right? But if we're talking effectiveness in terms of self-defense, then I think yes, competition kumite has possibly lessened that in a lot of dojos. Not all dojos though, because not every dojo is the same. However, too much emphasis on point scoring, I think, is quite detrimental to effectiveness. Yeah. In which competition rules did I take part in? So I've done a few things. Like I say, I started off with like Shoburi Ippon, Kumite, and Kata. It's sort of what we'd call a more traditional federation. And then I moved to the WKF because I wanted to compete for England, and I did that for 10 years or slightly more. I also competed in judo as well. So yeah, I've done a few different things, and competed in a few rule sets really. I also competed for a very short time in the WUKF, but that's very similar to WKF, so similar. Can I be a black belt in more than one karate style? Yes. Yeah, I think it's quite a good thing to experiment and try different styles out. I've trained with a lot of different styles in my time, um, and I'm sure it'd be very easy to get your second black belt because obviously you've got that background in the first style. I don't know if you necessarily need to do that and get collect black belts because there's obviously a lot of depth in each style. So I think you could just study your style and then supplement it with other styles would probably be a good idea. But of course, yeah, the answer is yes to that. How can I beat someone faster than me? Timing. You have to be. You have to use correct timing. Timing beats speed. Yeah. So you need to kind of create opportunities and advantages really through that timing. Maybe pull like feinting, pulling them to do something so you can then counter them. Things like that really. Speed isn't everything. Speed is not the only attribute that is going to win fights. So you might have other strengths that are going to be on your side. What is uki in terms of kata or kion? The blocking is the kind of general term used in that situation, and how to understand what it represents in kata. This is also an interesting question. So, um, a lot of the time, the blocking techniques, as they call them, are not really blocks as such. Uki translates kind of loosely to, or translates to receive. So it's receiving the technique. So I like to use like the middle part of the block as like a parry. So the the part where we're kind of preparing to block in the center, I use that as the defensive part. So as we're crossing for like an uchuki, that's the defensive part, and then the part after is like controlling the limb or something. Agyuki the same. So this is the parry first, and then I'm controlling the limb or coming into the throat or something like this. It opens up a lot more ideas in kata application if you sort of think of the blocks differently, rather than as kind of smashing arms out of the way and this kind of stuff. I also have a video on this, and I think it was titled something like "Do Karate Blocks Work?" So check that one out, and I go into quite a bit of depth on that one. Why is my black belt so worn out? Because it is like 20 years old. That's why. How can I make my karate deadly? I don't know if deadly is the word I'd necessarily use, but how can we make karate more effective? Then I suppose it's about how we train, how we our mindset in training, our intention in training. If we're simply just making shapes, then it becomes a cardio kind of workout, and it's just sort of just making shapes for the sake of it. But we have to train with intention and understand our application. Like I just mentioned about the blocking, it's having an understanding of what we're actually doing with the techniques. Um, then, with the understanding, we need to drill them with a partner. Uh, Initially, it doesn't have to be against a resisting partner. You can cooperate to start with, and then you build that resistance up over time to when it becomes almost like more free, and then we can come into free sparring. But yeah, understanding application and thinking about what you're actually doing with your techniques rather than just mindlessly going through shapes. Making shapes is not going to make deadly karate. Which other martial arts have I tried and how have they helped my karate? I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but I did judo and it's greatly helped my karate. It opens up a hell of a lot more possibilities in kata application. What you see initially as a strike or a block or something becomes a throw because you see the action differently, and the footwork involved in the turning in the katas and stuff lends itself very well to a lot of throws in judo. Why did I choose Shotokan Karate? Uh, I didn't specifically choose it as such. It's just where I went when I was younger. I just went to the class and I enjoyed it, carried on, and that was it. So it wasn't a choice as such for the style, but I just enjoyed what I was doing and carried on. What do you think of Shitoru style of karate and how does it compare to Shotokan? Um, it's a valid style. It's a good style. How does it compare? If we're just talking very shallow, the stances are a lot shorter and the movements are somewhat more relaxed. In Shotokan, we have a heavier feeling a lot of the time. Although I try to eliminate that from mine somewhat. I like to be a little bit more relaxed in my movement as well. Um, but it's all very much the same. The crossover is massive. There's all the styles are very similar. I've taught at different clubs, Wado, Goju-ryu, Shizuru, many different styles I've taught at, and when I deliver my Shotokan, it's still beneficial to them because they're still doing the same kind of stuff. We still do the same things, Maigari Oizukis and Gyakuzukis. It's more different at the start, and then the further you go in the martial art in the style, the more they become similar. So the very beginning will look quite different. Your katas will look different from the start, and your stances and techniques. But the further you go in the style, the more it becomes the same. And that goes also with other martial arts as well. You look at Taekwondo and Muay Thai and kickboxing, all these kind of things. In the end, a kick is a kick, and it's all the best way to kick is the best way to kick. So the further you go in a martial art, the more it becomes like all the others. If you've got this far in my video and you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so, because I'm putting out content on karate and martial arts and weight training and everything on a consistent basis. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe to the channel. How to do a full split. So that comes with consistent stretching. One thing to remember though is that not everybody's body structure is the same. The pelvis is built different with different people. So not everyone is going to be able to ever do a full split. Some people can and some people can't. But progress is always possible. So just work on getting better, getting further into that split and improving your range of motion. It's not essential to do a full split to kick well. Kicking well, kicking high, and the splits are not actually correlated as such. Obviously, one's going to help the other, but you don't need to do a full split to be able to kick high. Kicking high is also about strength in the hips and technique and all different kind of things. Obviously, range of motion, and then we've got to talk about static range of motion and active range of motion, but that's, again, a bit too deep for this video today. But yeah, a simple answer would be consistent stretching over a long period of time. How many sessions a week am I doing on average? Weight training, karate, and extra stuff. So first of all, the weight training. At the moment, I'm doing 6 days a week. So 3 days on, 1 day off. However, I'm going to change that pretty soon to a little bit less frequency because I need a little bit more rest. Karate, I'm doing between 4 and 5 times a week. I'm also traveling quite a bit, teaching seminars at the moment, so that's also a little bit higher. Extra stuff, mobility. Most days I'll do a little bit of something for mobility, but yeah, so 6 days a week weight training, 4 to 5 times a week karate, and most days a little bit of mobility work. What do you think of running before karate practice? I think it's okay, probably. You probably would be best off separating it a little bit. If you want to do cardio, running, then maybe stick that a little bit further away from the session so that your karate session is not affected by the fatigue that's built up from the running. Or you could run after karate. But if the only time you've got to do it is before, then by all means, do it. I don't necessarily think you need to run for cardio for martial arts or for karate. I think that's a little bit of an outdated idea as well, to be honest, because the cardio should come from the specific exercise. Fitness is you are fit for your activity you're trying to do. So if you want to get fitter for karate, the best thing to do is more karate. Sparring or kata or whatever you need to be cardiovascularly fit for, then do that specific exercise. You could be really fit in a swimming pool doing lanes and lanes and lanes of swimming, and then you get on a bike and you're tired. It's hard because it's a different sort of muscle groups and all this kind of thing. So yeah, I don't think there's any problem with running before karate sessions, but if you're looking to gain an improvement in your cardiovascular system, specifically for karate, then I would do more karate. Why are other styles kata longer compared to Shotokan kata? I don't think they're necessarily longer as such. Some styles have got quite short katas, but it's probably from where they originate. I don't know the answer as such, really. I mean, who knows? But it's probably where they originate from, where they originally come from. Shotokan is a Japanese style, and a lot of the others, some of the other styles are Okinawan, and they have roots in China. So their forms are probably more from maybe kung fu sort of styles and stuff. So it might be that makes it that reason. But I think if you're talking just purely in terms of duration, how long the kata lasts, um, and you're looking at it from a competition point of view, the other styles of kata have a lot more slow movements. So I think it's just a matter of the rhythm and timing of the kata that extends it a little bit. Uh, we have long katas in Shotokan. Kankadai, Goju Sho, and Dai are both all long katas. Just the timing's a bit quicker. Can you give strength training advice to or for teenagers? It's the same thing really as adults. I wouldn't really change the advice as such. Gradually build into it, have a well-structured, well-rounded program, and progressively overload over time. Don't rush into progressing the weights quickly. Make sure you're using a good range of motion and good form in your exercises. And I think that will be fine, really. I started weight training when I was quite young, actually, maybe 13 or 14. So just, the same advice I'd give to anyone, really. Start off slowly, gradually progress. Look up form and technique videos on YouTube. There's thousands of them, so you can get your technique, spot on before you go into it. But yeah, same as I'll give for anyone else, really. And I've got some videos on here also on weight training, so check them out. So moving on, I've heard karate masters used to practice their Kion 500 to 1,000 times. Is this true? Probably. Obviously, repetition is how we improve technique. So yeah, um, not just karate masters, but everyone that does karate should repeat their techniques many, many times. Um, I've also done that myself, thousands and thousands of punches and kicks. So yeah, that's true. Does it benefit your strength, muscle tone, and skills? Yes, yes to all of those. And how to balance Kion and kata practice along with strength training. So it's just about managing recovery, really. Um, you have to ensure you're getting enough rest, enough food to fuel the sessions, and listen to your body. If your body is breaking down and you're getting injured all the time, or you're just always tired, then you probably need to step back a little bit and reduce the volume of training. Um, yeah. If someone doesn't have a dojo available to them, what is the best online resource teaching to learn? Obviously, nothing beats going to a dojo and training properly. This YouTube channel, of course. No, there's many things on here. There's loads of stuff on YouTube to check out. Um, Obviously, as you said, the best thing is to go to a dojo because you need that correction and you need to practice with people. There's only so much you can learn and gain from practicing on your own and kicking and punching thin air or a punch bag. You need to have an active partner working with you to get the best out of it. If that is absolutely not an option, then of course, things like here on YouTube, I've got loads of tutorials on here and so loads of other people. That will probably be the way to go, I think. How do I create my own weekly plan for karate that includes kata training, weight training, flexibility and mobility and conditioning? Like I said in one of the previous questions there, it's just about managing recovery. So you need to figure out, how many times a week you want to do each one, what do you want to achieve, prioritize what is most important to you at the time, and that doesn't always have to be the same thing. You can prioritize mobility for a period of time, then it could be strength, then it could be a Kion or a kata or something. But number one is recovery. If you're doing too much, you're going to just hit a wall and end up getting injured or just getting too tired and just end up with problems. So the best way to create that plan is with recovery in mind. If not karate, what martial art would I choose to do? So earlier the question was about what would I do as well as karate. I said judo or jiu-jitsu. If it was not to do karate, then I would need to take care of the striking as well. So I'd probably go with, I think I'd go with Muay Thai or MMA, probably MMA. MMA or Muay Thai, one of those two. I know MMA is not a martial art as such, but I think that answers the question. I still have questions as a tall guy of the best way to spar with shorter opponents. So sparring with someone shorter, you want to make sure you are keeping distance. So your limbs, I would assume, would be longer than theirs. Your reach would be longer. So you want to try and keep them at that distance. Don't let them get inside. Don't let them get close. So in terms of karate, we can use kicks and stuff to keep them at distance, or the kizamis, the front hand, just keep them away. As they come in, keep throwing that front hand and get them back. To be honest, you're at an advantage more so than the shorter person. How many years young are you? I'm 36. I'm not very young anymore. And when and why did you start in martial arts? I started in 2000, so I was about 11 or 12. Do you have experience with injuries from karate? And if so, how did you overcome it? I've been injured loads of times, broken nose, broken fingers, toes, pulled hamstrings, groin, black eyes, loads of stuff. How do you overcome it? So generally, I would just train around it myself. Probably best not to recommend that, but rest is the best thing to recommend actually. Rest. It depends on the injury. Completely depends. A black eye, of course, doesn't matter. You can continue training. Broken fingers, just don't punch with that hand. Generally, though, it's dependent on what the injury is. Rest is always going to be the answer. That's the best answer for that, to be honest. But it's possible to train around things. If you've got an injured shoulder, lay off that shoulder a bit. Do other things, work on stances or kicks or something like that, footwork. Yeah, that's how I would overcome injuries myself. Do you think the Olympian style of kumite has misplaced the way of sparring? What's your opinion in general about sparring, contact on the head, and so on? The question's a little bit longer, but I've paraphrased it slightly. Um, I think in my dojo, I like to use a bit of everything really, leg kicks, knees, that kind of stuff, really. Anything kind of goes with it because I think as I said earlier, the point scoring type of Olympic style kumite, like we're talking about WKF kumite, is quite limited in terms of its array of techniques that you commonly see. So I like to use leg kicks and things like that. Really make it a little bit more kickboxing style sometimes, and allow for a little bit closer range as well. With maybe some throws and stuff involved. Yeah, I think obviously head contact needs to be kept to a minimum, really, because it's not never a good thing to keep getting hit in the head for your brain. Um, a bit of contact around the body is fine, but head contact's probably best to keep to as little as possible. What are the differences between sports and traditional karate? This is quite similar again to a lot of questions about the sort of WKF or sports style kumite. Really, the differences are the intention of the training, I suppose, or the direction of it, or the aim of it. Obviously, sports karate is aimed at winning medals and winning medals for by playing by the rules. Traditional karate will focus a lot more on kata and application, bunkai, and sport karate will focus more on the aesthetics of the kata rather than the application of it. And in the kumite, it will focus on scoring points uh, along, in line with the rule set. How many years would it take you to get the first black belt in Shotokan karate? Um, it took me 4 years, but I was attending about 7 classes a week and training at home as well, in addition to that. So I was doing a lot. In my dojo, that usually takes around 6 years, 6 to 7 years, um, depending on the person, of course. Some longer, some maybe slightly shorter. Can anyone practice for longer than usual and get up 2 belts in one test? I don't double grade in my dojo because I think there's missing. If you skip grades, I think you're missing out on the development in that time. It's I think it's important to do the time as well, so you can mature into the karate and your understanding develops a bit better. There's no rushes there. There's never a rush to progress through the belts. It's a long journey. It's meant to be a lifetime journey. So they say, right? So just take your time. How should I manage martial arts and weight training? I want to do 6 times per week. I want to do both 6 times per week, but I think soreness from weight training will affect my martial arts, or does it not affect my martial arts practice? Yeah, soreness can obviously do that, but generally soreness will be alleviated when you warm up. You know, when you get DOMs from a leg session, um, a bit of a warm up, getting the blood flowing through the legs and stuff will generally alleviate that enough for you to train. If you're getting too sore, then pull back a little bit on the frequency, increase the protein, increase your calories, improve your rest, improve your sleep. Recovery again is a common theme for a lot of these answers, but yeah, manage your recovery better. If 6 times a week for both is too much, then pull back. You know, 4 times a week, 3 times a week, or whatever. But I don't think it's detrimental at all. For people that have seen my channel enough, they know that I strongly recommend weight training alongside karate or martial arts altogether. What drills would you recommend to improve my stamina during sparring? Uh, just more sparring, really, or more sparring exercises. You know, drilling your sparring combinations, that kind of stuff. Working on footwork, shadow boxing or shadow sparring, shadow kumite. Um, Quite, you know, you can go on light kumite with each other. You know, you just sort of playful kumite, but sort of for extended rounds. You know, so you're timing it, maybe 3 minute rounds, 4 minutes, even if you want to sort of push it a bit further. And also need your suggestion for fat loss. So fat loss is basically created through being in a caloric deficit, so eating less than you burn. So I do this by tracking my food on something like MyFitnessPal or any kind of app that tracks your calories. I weigh all my food out, track everything, and then obviously, you know, weighing yourself frequently. If you're not losing weight, then drop the calories a little bit. If you're if you're gaining weight, you need to drop them even further. But if you're losing weight, keep the calories where they are. When you stop losing weight, drop them again. To keep it primarily to fat loss, we want to make sure we are eating enough protein as well. So let me say that a little bit clearer. Um, Say our calories are at 2,500. If you're losing weight at 2,500, then stay there. If you stop losing weight at 2,500, then drop it by 100 calories to 2,400. When you stop losing at 2,400, then drop it again 100 to 2,300. And you can do this until you kind of keep maintaining that fat loss or weight loss. That also works the other way around. If you're trying to bulk up, you know, add calories. If you're gaining weight, then stick there. Keep going with that. If you stagnate and you're not gaining any weight anymore, then add the calories in again. I'm pretty naturally flexible, so whenever I do kata, my sensei say that I need to make it look less effortless. So, is there anything that you could have that you could? I can't read. Is there anything you could do to help me make my kicks, especially, look more difficult? No, kicks shouldn't be difficult. They should be effortless. That's the goal, isn't it? We want to try and move freely and with flexibility. I can't really say that I agree. I agree with your sensei there, with all due respect, but no, effortless kicks are a good thing, and that's what we should aim for. We should aim for kicks that are easy and effortless. Maybe I'm not understanding the question completely, but I mean, the goal is to make your kicks effortless, really. All techniques, all our karate should look effortless. You know, you see this very robotic karate quite a lot, and it's like a very old way, especially Shotokan, to be very stiff and robotic and too heavy with it, really. You know, but we should be more fluid and free. We should be relaxed in our movement. And effortless is the kind of goal, isn't it? An effortless movement. You know, we should be gliding across the floor and sending punches out from nowhere. That's the goal, really, to be effortless. How do you change your way you hold your guard in different gloves? Boxing, MMA, karate mix, etc. I don't really think it depends on the gloves, but I think it depends on distance. So the closer range you are to somebody, the more the hands are going to come up closer to the head. You know, if you're close range, you can be working elbows and stuff. So closer range, hands come up higher. Further range, we can drop the hands a little bit. We've got time to react, and we're going to be dealing with longer range techniques like kicks and longer punches. So not necessarily the gloves, but the distance that you're working at. If you're working at close range, which would probably be more like a boxing range, and so boxing gloves, your hands are going to be higher like a boxer would be. As we create more distance, the hands can relax and come lower, and we can work from that sort of lower, more relaxed guard from there. Can you talk something about what are the disadvantages of karate and when it becomes unusable in real do or die fights? And is karate unusable for which type of people? So the disadvantages of karate are more dojo specific than they are karate specific, because karate is not one thing; it's a massive spectrum of kind of things, really. You know, some dojos, as I said earlier, will teach purely sport competition karate to score points, and the effectiveness of that in a do or die situation is going to be limited. There's value to it. You know, the distancing and speed and all this kind of thing is valuable, but then you've got dojos that work on groundwork and more close range stuff and elbows, knees. This is the kind of stuff I like to do quite a bit in my dojo. You know, knees, elbows, clinching kind of work, and a lot of pad work and stuff like that. You know, hitting stuff. So it's not really disadvantages of karate, but more the disadvantages of specific dojos. Do I own any dojo? Yes, I've run my dojo for since 2011. Kata. There are so many people who teach kata but are ridiculously wrong in their technique. That's more of a statement than a question, but yes. What does wrong mean? You know, what is wrong and what is right? Different people have different interpretations and stuff, and kata should be quite free in a way to kind of grow and express your karate. But yeah, I've seen a lot of poor karate. As long as we stick to the fundamentals of karate, you know, what works, and that's applied in our kata, then we should be on the right track. I'm not sure if you're just referring to maybe dojos and stuff, but yeah, of course, that's a different story altogether. But there are variations in kata, so not always necessarily wrong because it's different to what you do in your dojo. So yeah, I think that is all we have time for in this video. I might have to do a second one. I might make it a regular thing, maybe once a month Q&A if people are interested in that. So if you've made it to the end of this is going to be a very long video. So if you have, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Drop some comments down below and we'll go for another one, shall we? Yeah, thank you very much for everyone that contributed questions. Sorry if I didn't get to yours. If I did, drop me a comment below and let me know if that was of any help. I'll try to elaborate on anything if you want to ask further questions to that. But otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much.